Welcome to Cast of Creators. We're your hosts. I'm Nelson Thal.
And I'm Casey Stewart. We've spent our careers in media and publishing. Now we're setting the stage for creative people who inspire us to share their stories.
Our guest this episode is Andrew Lovesey, OG influencer and travel blogger who is now the Director of Digital and Video at Canadian Geographic.
Tune in for talk about the early days of social media, pet peeves about bad pet owners, OnlyFans, and a whole lot more. We laughed a lot this episode, and you're going to love it.
Welcome.
Thank you.
Incredible to have you here.
I am so thrilled to be here.
We're so glad. It's been so long since we saw you in real life.
It's been so long. What, like 3 weeks?
Oh, yeah, no, actually, but before that. Forget it.
Sorry, I totally ruined
It's
that
okay.
one. If it was intended as a joke.
I forgot.
Now, we were talking about how you two met.
Yep.
And
Yes.
Casey was a little foggy about it.
I was like, how did we meet? Because back a long time ago, you were really on the influencer scene, and
Yep.
so was I.
Yep.
And we were going to events all the time. And we probably bonded over something along the lines of a cocktail or something like that.
Yep, sounds about right. I mean, like, sounds about right.
Yeah.
Oh,
I think-
at an event.
Yeah,
At
it
an
was
event.
At an event, but
I can't remember what one.
I think
Do you
that
remember?
like the we met at a bunch of random events, but
Yeah.
like never had a like moment to properly connect. But it was like, wouldn't it have been like Arizona that we would have like
yes, that's
really
where it
hung
was.
out? Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's exactly.
I think you said that.
remember.
I
No,
think you
I
said
was
that.
talking about we went to Jamaica, but
Oh, yeah,
we
you went to
did a
Jamaica.
trip where we did Route 66, and the thing was, it was 7 of us, and 75% of the trip was spent in this small van with like 5 other influencers, and I really bonded with you and your vibe and your energy. And you and I were also the ones who, when everyone went back to their hotel room, we were like, do you want to have a cocktail?
Yes.
Yeah. Do you want to go to the hot tub? Yes. And remember?
I totally
It was
do.
right before the election, because I
Yes.
remember there was a time and you and I pretended we were a couple because it was not a
not very gay friendly
No.
in small town Arizona.
Yeah,
along
very
Route
small
66. I think like one of the like another pair of influencers on the trip. Not that we were there as a pair,
No,
but like
but
there was a couple.
Someone said something to
Yeah.
them about being gay.
Yeah,
and then-
at breakfast in the motel because they were all motels on that trip.
Yes.
It was very eclectic lodgings, if I may
Yeah,
say.
that's a good way. That's a very positive way to describe the experience
Yes.
as eclectic.
I think that was my first encounter hiking, like I guess hiking in the wrong direction in America and having someone chase you down off a mountain with a gun.
Yes.
That was when I went across from the hotel and I turned to the people who were at the hotel and I said, I'm going to go and hike up that mountain. And I thought that it would be okay. It just
Yeah.
looked like a little mountain.
What was the name of the town? God, I can't remember. I think I probably blocked it out.
We went to so many. I would have blocked them all out.
I mean, Route 66 is a cool trip to do, but I mean, I would like to do it top down in a convertible with like 1 or 2 friends,
Yes.
not
Yep.
7 influencers in a small van for like, it was, and it
Oh,
was,
yeah,
and it was
that'll
7
change
and it
the
was
whole
like
vibe of the trip.
It was like
Yep.
5 days. So you'd like
Yeah.
go all day, stop until 8 p.m. and then get up and then go be on the bus again at 8 a.m.
Yeah, it was weird too because we went from like east to west across Arizona and pretty much we didn't go south to like Tucson or anything, but we went like pretty far north, like reasonably far, but not to the Grand Canyon, in the Grand Canyon state. And then there's this stop on the itinerary and it's like, we're going to take you to the Grand Canyon caverns. And we're all like, oh my God, this is so exciting. Yay. Until we keep driving and we're like hours, like 5 hours from the Grand Canyon. We're all checking on a map. We're like, we're not going to the Grand Canyon.
Yeah, like, where the hell are we?
Exactly. And we show up and it's a hole in the ground. It's
Literally a cave.
Yeah, a
we
cave.
went in a cave. And
Yes.
I was freaked the fuck out of being that far underground. We're in this rickety, like,
Yeah.
elevator down like 5 stories underground.
Yeah.
And then there
Wow.
was like a
like that
hotel. There was
classroom.
skeletons. There was skeletons.
Yeah, there was a mammoth skeleton. So like a
wow.
mammoth had fallen down this crevasse, I guess like tens of thousands of years ago. And when did mammoths live? I should probably know this given where I work.
Canadian.
I know.
Probably a good guess.
Yeah,
Please
Good
don't
guess.
air that question
Well,
or answer.
it was
But no, you like take this like 300-foot rickety mine shaft elevator down, and it's like was only a few people at a time that could go down. There was only one way down and up, no cell phone service, nothing down below. And it's like stalagmites and stalactites. And like, it was just like a full on cave with a bed in the middle.
Because you could rent it as a hotel room if you were really keen to sleep in a cave.
Oh,
I was freaking out. I was like, I can't do this. I was the first one to get out of there.
Yeah.
I was like,
yeah, I bet. It reminds me of that class that got stuck a couple of years ago. Remember the water came in and they couldn't get out of there?
that's probably why I was scared.
Oh, yeah. I'm not a fan of going down too deep into caves.
No.
It's not
No.
for me.
If my phone doesn't work and it's too far down, I can't get out. I'm freaked out.
Key part of that sentence was if my phone doesn't work.
Yeah. Well, and we did a trip to Jamaica, which was also fun. But
So
it
much
was
fun.
like very much, that's kind of how we met because we were really on the influencer
Circuit?
scene.
Yeah.
Circuit. And I was curious, like now with your job, what's your relationship, influencer? Are you kind of maybe like me, like dipping out a bit or?
Yeah, I mean, great question. I like
I
that.
like to call it influencer retirement.
Yeah.
You know?
Relaxing. We don't
Yeah.
influence anymore.
I'm
we
just-
just be.
I'm just living life.
Exactly.
In the words
No,
of a Kardashian.
I think
On
that-
this podcast that I've put a lot of work into.
No, but this is like this is so much more fun for me than like I'm not doing like you know what I mean. I'm not
Oh,
like
I know what
You're
you mean. I'm just thinking-
You're making
influencing,
a
honey.
joke.
You can be in denial that you're retiring,
Yeah.
but you're like one of those people who become a snowbird and then end up taking you onto the ride at Disney World. They're like, I cannot retire. Maybe that, I
Yeah.
mean, there could be some horrible social inequity issues behind why they're working, so I apologize. Don't take this out of context, any of the viewers, please.
No.
But like, snowbirds still sometimes work. Yeah.
I
so-
just mean like from the
Horrible analogy.
I mean from
I
the,
think it was great.
from the product placement and more doing things I find that are more meaningful
Yep.
and where that bring me joy, like my work with Hover and Nelson and helping to build the app and doing this podcast brings me so much joy. And if this can influence people in a positive way, I feel really happy about that versus the like
Sign up for Post-its. My name's Casey Stewart.
Use
I
code
use
Casey.
these every day.
yeah.
Yeah. You should see the discount on Bell gigabit internet.
Yeah, but like have your
amazing.
has your relationship? I mean, with like posting social stuff changed?
I mean, one look at my Instagram right now would answer that question.
Yeah.
I've been on a bit of a hiatus, and
Yeah.
I think it's honestly it's just that it's not that I've fallen out of love with social media. It's weird once it becomes your job. You're either with it or you're not with it.
Yeah.
And like there's like
Right.
just these moments where I have so much going on in my life right now that I used to be all about, let me post this. I want this to be a content moment. I can share it. Like people are going to like this. And now I'm like, do they care about what I'm doing on a Tuesday afternoon? Like
Yeah.
I'm on a freaking Zoom meeting for
Yeah.
like 4 hours some days.
Yeah.
And I don't think people care about that. And I'm like not going to Instagram my keyboard or my coffee cup. So
Yeah.
I've been like, I think the pandemic kind of brought it on
Yeah,
because
I think so.
the influencer life was like real, and media in general. Excuse me while I like clear myself. I'm
Yeah,
drinking
no.
wine, folks. And so I think that the pandemic has kind of brought on this like either two types of people. Like there's the people who have become a little bit more lonely and isolated and they're all over social media. And then it's also caused people to like take a moment and reevaluate the relationships in their life, whether it be with technology or
Yeah.
people. And I think that in that along the way, I kind of like slowed down on social media because it became a bit of a chore to plan the content, to work through things. And like I have an agent and I still work on like custom campaigns and
Yeah.
things. And even that has become like almost anxiety inducing because now it's like, my agent calls me and says we're looking at this campaign, and I'm like, I haven't posted in 4 weeks. Oh my God, my engagement is going to be so low. What are they going to think of me when I pop up and I'm like, buy this, yay. It's like it's not genuine, and that's not who I am as a person. So then I get like stuck in this cycle where I want to post, but then I'm like, even today I was like, I'm going to do a whole story series about coming to the Hover Studio for this podcast, and like then I'm just like in a meeting. And then I'm standing outside and I'm like, did a little story so that I can do all of this after the fact. Because that's what life is now. It's not Instagram, it's yesterdaygram. Yeah. And so like there's these problems where like you're just like faced with a time crunch or pressure. And like so long way of answering your question.
No, it's good though.
I think it is really like, I think it's as with all relationships, you have to contribute to the relationship. Like it's a partnership with yourself more than it is a partnership with the internet or a brand or whoever you're working with. Because if you don't value what you're putting out, and if you're not really genuinely connected to it, it will show, and then people won't
they
be
can
influenced.
see through it.
Yeah.
If you're like,
for sure.
Like, I find if you say, there was a point where I was like a full-time influencer, and I would like, I need to help pay the mortgage. So I'd be like, okay, I'll do this campaign. And trying to create that content is so hard because you're taking pictures and you're like, you can see through your face and your dishonest eyes that it's like, you're not into it, and it's really, really, really hard.
Yeah, I was going through a breakup and had to post campaign imagery where I'm like smiling and encouraging people, and I was heartbroken. Like I was dying inside, and there I am contractually obligated to get something up by a certain date. And it doesn't matter what's going on in your life. That's your job now. It's, if a doctor has a surgery and they're the only surgeon who can do the job, if they bail someone, like that's someone else's life that's affected. But it's like only your life affected when you're the social media influencer. I mean, unless you have an ad agency on the other side being like, where's your content? So like it can happen.
See, he does the voice when he talks about Nelson was making fun of me because I'm like, I want to do it.
Well, his is a different one, but I wasn't making fun of you. I do plenty of voices I slip into.
Further background on like Casey and I's trip to Arizona. I'm pretty sure like you have this screen sharing capability. So if we wanted to, we could share some Snapchat memories from my vault of, we went to wax museums, and we were in like, and excuse me for saying this, I'm gay, so I'm just gonna say in buttfuck Arizona. And like we're going to these little like Western wax museums that are just atrocious. And not atrocious, it's history. I love that. But at the same time, the content was not real. It was very grade school wax museum, let's call it. It's like I used paper mache and a resin mold from one person to do all the people. And so we had to have fun.
And we were tired.
And so we went through the museum and we just voiced every single person in the museum. We created backstories. I have some pretty good ones.
It was like one of the, I've never had a better museum experience. I'm here to get my dinner. I'm just a baby. Where's my mama?
Narrating the actual figures.
The whole museum. Yeah. Have you seen my wife?
Can we just take it in that if I replayed these, those are almost identical to what she said on the day 5 years ago.
I was really into it. It was so fun.
6 or, oh God, I'm aging us here, but like 6 years ago, 7 years ago. Yeah, because Jamaica was 5 years ago.
Actually, to this day, we were in Jamaica at Rick's Cafe. I got it up in my memories this morning, and I thought, how perfect is that?
Yeah,
Did
that's
you
perfect.
Jump off the cliff? I didn't either. I'm a scaredy cat. No way could you
water,
pay me.
I was like, a lifer. That just came out of nowhere. I'm like,
at Rick's Cafe, the famous cliff jumping place where the man like climbed up the post and like jumped from 100 feet off of this like flagpole and like dives into this tiny little basin in the sea, but it's like waves coming in. Like if you jump the wrong way, it's crushing you against against the rocks. So like not really the best thing to have at a bar. I'm sure somewhere there was a legal disclaimer, but like it's Jamaica. What happens in Jamaica stays
I'm
in
too
Jamaica.
concerned about the
Even if you die.
yeah, the face, the teeth, the limbs.
Yeah.
No.
Yeah.
Yeah, you're not a professional cliff jumper.
I prefer to sit and lounge and have a cocktail when I'm on vacation. But with cliff diving, it's not for me. No.
So before you were at Canadian Geographic, you were a full-time influencer.
Yeah, kind of.
And how'd you get into that?
Oh, gosh, yeah. How did that happen?
You had a blog?
I had a blog. So I started my career in acting and was clearly, I mean, you don't hear of me as an actor. So like clearly nothing happened.
Under your present name.
Yes, under my present name.
What kind of acting?
Yeah, you know. So, gosh, I'd be so much more famous if I could tap into that stream. It's the joy of working for a nonprofit.
Yeah.
You can't venture into the realm of OnlyFans. But I mean, yeah, to answer your question, I started as an actor and quickly, you know, was disenfranchised with it all and started working at a casting studio.
Is that an Arrested Development?
I think it is. Actor.
Yes.
Yeah.
It's
Good
Tobias.
catch.
It's Tobias.
I love that.
I love that show.
Me too.
Yeah. Not the final season. Everyone before that one.
Yeah. Yeah.
My favorite
I don't know
is
what
jorts.
they were smoking on the
When he
final
wears
season.
the jorts.
Truth.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I mean, I left the acting film world and kind of cycled through all these jobs and landed in PR, which somehow got me into a job in the media. And I started as an intern at Canadian Geographic, then left and worked for Flair, the fashion magazine, for a while. And that's kind of, I think where we
that's
started
where we
first
kind of started to be
interacting.
friends.
Yeah, like Fashion Week stuff.
Yes.
And TIFF and things.
Oh,
and,
the olden days.
I know, right? When you could still go out
Because
until
it was-
like
Fashion Week and TIFF are not the same as they used to be.
No,
but-
no, definitely not. And like back then,
Especially now.
yeah, now it's like
to say.
womp, womp.
Yeah.
Like, but
TIFF
no.
day.
Yeah, TIFF day. Yeah, and I mean, back
Maybe
then we
this-
could also like go out until 4 a.m. from event to event to event because, you know, those stupid TIFF parties are all just PR moments. And I say stupid just broadly because
No,
I'm
because
an
we went,
asshole,
but we would literally hit like 4 parties in
Yeah.
a night and then get up and like, I don't know what kind of jobs we had. I don't feel like they were real jobs. And then the next night we do the same thing.
Exactly. It was
At the end of
rotate.
the week, I'd be like, I'm dead. Like I was literally like a corpse.
Exactly. And like, I don't have that energy.
And you were
anymore.
working at the PR agency through this period.
Flair.
Started at Flair
started
in
at
that
Flair,
period.
okay.
Then I left Flair and I started at another PR agency, a travel PR agency.
Okay.
And that was when I started kind of realizing, like, at Flair, I had started like trying to build a travel brand within Flair, but I mean, it was a fashion magazine.
Yeah.
It wasn't going to be a travel magazine
Right.
anytime soon.
Right.
So I worked at a travel PR firm, and I was just
the
like,
stuff you bring on a trip.
I know.
Dresses you bring, you try and weave it, anything to get away and travel. Stuff you-
How can I get out of here?
How to pack for a tropical vacation. Imagine if you lived in a tropical place all year round. What would you wear?
take your family to the island that inspired this Chanel resort collection.
Yeah.
But no, that was, I mean, the extent of where that was going with Flair. And so I got to a travel PR firm. That was, you know, a moment. And then, like, while I was there, I started a travel blog, and it started getting a lot of traction. And I had some stories that, like, I mean, it was the early days of SEO, right? So I somehow lucked into really good SEO on a number of stories that, like, pushed it out and made it go viral. Like, I remember the first story that brought in like 1 million plus people to my website was Gap was doing like a baby. Wow. Taking that back for a second. So Gap was doing like a baby Gap casting campaign where they were looking for like the next child model. And I remember through working at Flair, I had great contacts in PR at Gap, and they sent me the release, and I'm like, we're a travel blog, but like I have a fashion and style section, so like I'm gonna run this in it.
Yeah.
And I ran it, but ended up being like the first person to run a story on it. And because of that and good SEO, I outranked like Vogue, Cosmo,
Wow.
every major publication out there that covered it. I outranked them. And when you just searched Baby Gap competition, my website was even outranking like the Gap entry page for the thing, which was just weird. It just people were sharing it because that was the news that happened. And it like blew my website out of proportion.
What was the name of the site?
It was called Travel About. It's weird. It's bittersweet knowing that it doesn't exist anymore, and that like the URL, I just like folded it all and like relinquished the URL, and some like travel agency or something purchased the URL right away and like redirected it to their company.
Well, that was a valuable piece
I
of
know.
real estate on the internet.
Yeah, exactly. And
That
so,
you owned.
Yeah.
That you own.
And through that work, though, I think not being with a media company, because I started kind of my relationship with influencer work while I was at Flair. Like, I would have brands that were advertisers with Flair trying to reach out to me to do sponsored content. And then my ability to accept it was actually determined by Rogers. So like I was asked to host a live Twitter chat. The pay was really good by like a major beauty company I won't name, but it was happening during the Oscars, and Rogers had sold a brand sponsorship for the Oscars being aired on TV to a competitive company. And they said,
You can't
you're an
do
employee
this.
of us. You can't compete with this and mess up our deal. And so I had to end up turning it away. And that was kind of like the realization for me that being on my own would allow me the freedom to take on these brand partnerships. And so I, under Travel About, teamed up with like American Express, Samsung, Air Miles, a bunch of different brands that I think we kind of interconnected
we
on.
went to that pop-up, Air Miles
the
pop-up
Air Miles
together.
pop-up, And were you at the Gordon Ramsay dinner?
No.
Okay.
I was at
Nelson.
the Maddie Matheson one.
Oh, I was there. Was that with Viceland?
Yes.
Yeah.
Was that at
It was
Cold
at,
Tea?
like-
No, I
Arts and
remember one
Labor?
that was with
Oh.
a credit card company.
Okay, how much has Maddie Matheson got around? Talk about the town bicycle. It seems that there are 3 different events and everyone's had a ride.
He's really popping. He's
really
really
popping.
working. I
Yeah.
just saw that he has a farm as well.
What?
Well, that was the
they-
first time I'd ever heard about him or seen him at
Yeah.
this event, and it was like an Amex Blue event or some like credit card that was trying to
the
do like a
Cobalt?
millennial,
Yeah.
like some like
That's their
this is your
Cobalt
millennial card.
This is
And
not sponsored.
I had never seen
No.
him before. All I knew
But it
that
could be.
Ramsey was
Amen,
doing one of
sister.
them because you didn't know who was going to pop out.
Yeah.
But I knew Ramsey was doing one of them, which obviously, I would have liked to have seen Ramsey. But he popped out and he started swearing.
He's
and-
like, fuck
and,
this.
and like Talia, my wife, for anybody listening, my wife,
Shout out to
Talia
Tal.
is like not a big listener or talker of swear words.
No.
And we looked at each other and we went, oh my gosh, this is quite something like Amex. You got us in this den of plenty of words, plenty of new words. And but it was a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we ended up having a decent meal, but we had a fun time.
Yeah.
So it was great. But that was the first time I saw him. And then since then, I have watched a bunch of his
Yeah.
the YouTube show he does.
Yeah.
I forget
Oh,
the one
gosh.
that I'm thinking of. But and he's
We'll put it up on
entertaining and
screen.
fantastic. Yeah, we'll put it up
We'll
on
post
screen.
it on Hover.
Yeah, we'll have it.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. I
The
just
joy
got his
of Hover,
cookbook actually
everyone.
for my birthday from Sean.
Also soon to be featured on Hover.
Yes.
You got a cookbook? His cookbook?
Yeah, his cookbook. Sean got it for me because he's like, here's a lot of meals you can make me.
Sounds like someone doesn't spend too much time in the kitchen.
I make all of the, I make most of the meals, not all the meals if he's listening. But I do make a lot of the meals. Like he got the air fryer and I use it a lot. The Instant Pot I use a lot. I like to barbecue.
Okay, not to interrupt this conversation, but like there's a very important elephant in the room that is named air fryer.
Oh,
and-
Nelson's the king.
Okay,
Oh,
so
yeah.
I've never used one, and I'm still trying to figure out like what's the deal with the air fryer.
the
Is it
best.
as good
Do
as
you have one?
No.
Oh, okay. You know what? We have the Philips XL air fryer.
Wait, like Philips, like the Philips.
Yeah,
The
the
Philips.
Oh, that's dangerous.
Which was generously gifted to Talia,
Mm.
and we have enjoyed it thoroughly. So much so that we rarely use the oven a lot of the time.
I prefer the air fryer over the oven as well.
Wait,
But I'll tell you,
what?
if you buy frozen fries and you pop them in that air fryer, you'll be happy. And I do a lot of reheating of rotisserie chickens that I buy in the air fryer.
Yeah.
And they crisp up to the point that you'd think that they were deep fried. Like if you leave it in there, it's really crunchy. And I do wings in there. So I totally recommend it. And then another appliance that was a bit of a sneak attack good appliance, because I had heard of them before, was the Instant Pot. The
I'm
Instant
obsessed.
Like what you make rice in?
No.
Well, you can make a lot of stuff.
It is like an 8-in-1. We have one for the house and the cottage. I love it that
amazing.
much.
Oh, you do.
I doubled up on the Instant Pot.
Yeah, it's good. The Instant Pot's good.
Yep.
And I got it. I one day I decided
Are we on a
to.
podcast right now?
One day.
Soon to be
we come
sponsored
to
by
the
all
door.
the
Yeah, we come
greatest
to the
food
door.
brands.
We come to the door next week, and all these appliances are there. But I ended up going on a bit of an appliance bender with my scene points.
Oh.
I wanted to spend. Okay.
Fast forward to Nelson, just like throwing out those
Honestly,
scene points.
That's what it was like.
Also available for sponsorship.
Yep.
Yeah. So I got Talia an ice cream maker because we've always wanted an ice cream maker.
Ooh.
I thought it
is
would be good for
like
Ariel for like
an
sorbets.
electric one, or is
Yeah,
it?
it's a pretty big, like a bowling ball bag size ice cream maker, maybe taller. And you can make sorbet and ice cream and other
Wow.
things in it.
Okay.
So that was something I bought. And then the other thing that I bought that I've always wanted was like a really professional orange juice maker.
Oh.
Something that you don't have to touch every peel with
Yeah.
your hand.
like the machine where you just drop
No,
all the oranges.
short of that, I
into-
wish.
Okay.
Okay,
I know, right?
that would
That
be
one's
amazing.
amazing.
Okay, that was amazing. No.
with the wheel and it's
I mean, like how you go
I
to like
wish
a
I
European,
had that one, like
the
the-
European
yeah.
grocery store. You put them in, and
Yes,
they,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yes, that's amazing.
I think Whole Foods might have it
Okay.
too. Yep.
Yeah,
Yep.
you'd have to get that like from the President's Choice supplier of
Yeah.
independence.
You
sort of
just
stuff.
you need to find the factory that manufactures them and get one of those.
But
So,
this
yeah,
one
so you
is like it's got
one.
a lever that actually cups the. You just have to cut the orange in half.
Okay.
Fantastic. And then the other one I dabbled was the Instant Pot I bought.
Okay.
And I've done a bunch of good stuff in it.
Really?
Because I pressure
So-
cook short ribs in it. And I sous vide in it.
And then you probably
sterilize bottles.
pressure cook the
Like
ribs.
baby
and then,
bottles? That's amazing.
It's a sterilizer too. It's so funny. It does it is a jack of all trades.
It's amazing.
Actually, it's kind of a master of all
Yeah.
trades. But
Yeah.
yes, that one was good. And then the other one I've got a George Foreman smokeless grill was like a kicker. I needed 7,000 points.
Yep.
So I had to ditch them on a George Foreman grill. And you have to find something that was kind of cheap. Yeah. And but the grill, Brandon Olson's coming in for a podcast.
The
and
chef,
the
yeah.
chef.
Yep.
And it's going to be one of the grills that
We're
we
gonna
have here. We're going to
grill
grill
on the
right on the
podcast.
podcast.
That's amazing.
So it's a perfect
Can I
one
come
for
in
that.
and watch?
Yeah,
Just
you
like-
can come in and
Yeah,
watch
we
that
got
one.
enough room.
I'll even stand
Yeah, right here.
outside
No, you
somewhere.
can-
You can just give me a
Do we
screen.
have an
Perfect.
audience?
There is
Yeah.
an audience.
Yeah.
Amazing.
Yeah.
For those of you who have not seen the room in detail, it's quite amazing. This
Thank
studio.
you.
Thank you.
Quite
Thank
amazing.
you.
Yep.
Yeah.
So the fryer's good. I'd recommend the fryer.
Okay.
So then influencing, doing your influencing.
Oh
thing.
yeah, sorry. This podcast
Doing your
not just
travel,
about Instant Pot.
doing your travel
Yeah.
influencer stuff.
yes. Yeah.
No food influencing. You'd
No,
think you'd
I'm
be
I'm
doing.
quite a picky eater. I mean,
Yeah.
Casey's traveled with me. She
Yeah.
saw how much I ate breadsticks at the
No,
buffet.
I'm the same as you because I'm not
You
picky.
do
I
eat
just,
breadsticks?
Oh, like only.
No, because
Really?
we'd be like, ugh, I don't
the
like
opposite.
that.
I'm like, this
we
bacon
were
is too
similar,
fatty.
Because I was like, I don't like that. They're like, here's your elaborate, blah, 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 like all these fancy things, and I'm like, ew.
yeah.
I'll have breadsticks. Can I have
That's
some more
him.
butter?
Yeah. Yeah.
He was Harry Potter with a long
I
breadstick.
really was. I carried these
swinging it
breadsticks
around.
to the room. Like I was bringing them from the buffet to the room, and like Wingardium Leviosaing my way
Yeah.
to the room. It was a spectacular trip,
Yeah,
I
it
must
was.
say. But yeah,
to be
building.
able to eat just breadsticks like that.
Yeah.
I don't know what that.
No,
life-
I pay for it
I
now,
don't know.
so I've like now
Doesn't seem like you do.
No, I like visibly might not, but like acid reflux and like stomach,
Yeah.
not good. Now
Invisibly.
it's like, invisibly, yeah. At 3 a.m. when you wake up and you're like, why do I feel 60?
Yeah.
And yeah,
It's the breadsticks.
it's the breadsticks and the sugar. I really like
And the
candy
wine.
too, and the wine. And if you don't have it with cheese and an acid and complete
Yeah,
the
yeah.
protein, then it's actually hard. I've been taking a little bit of a nutrition course,
Oh,
trying
cool.
to fix my pickiness, and
Great.
because it's almost like a food aversion. Like I'm
Yeah.
afraid of certain things. Like I have never eaten certain fruits or vegetables, never ever in my life.
Oh,
Like what?
wow.
yeah.
I
Let's play a
Like
game.
mango.
No,
What?
never tried a mango. in my
pa-
life.
Oh, that first of
papaya?
all, good first guess.
Well, because
okay.
a lot of people don't eat are allergic to mango, or it makes their tongue feel funny, or they don't eat it.
that
Papaya.
So I bought a papaya because my friend Sarah,
papaya.
Bird's papaya,
Just stared
and
it down.
I know I got it home, and my partner was like, I really don't think you're gonna eat that, and it's really not like a place or a season to buy papayas. And I'm like, oh, so I'm gonna have like a mealy papaya as my first bite. So then I get in my head,
Yeah.
never tried a
Yeah.
papaya as a result. But yeah,
Passion fruit?
Nope.
Oh my god.
I've had passion fruit high chews.
And I feel like whenever I say passion fruit, it's like my granddad in New Zealand had a passion fruit tree. So I don't say passion fruit. I'm like
okay.
passion fruit, because that's like how my parents say it.
yeah.
Passion fruit.
I've tried a bite of a dragon fruit, which I
Oh,
didn't mind. That's
kiwi?
the white one with the black dots, right?
yeah. Kiwi?
Okay. Can't say I have.
Some
tried
people
kiwi.
also don't have kiwi because it makes their tongue hurt. It's like you have to like pineapple, for example. Some people,
I've never tried pineapple either.
one of the things that if you do decide to try pineapple, when you cut it, wash it in salt water first, because that will make sometimes you can get a tongue sore if you don't wash it in salt water first.
Wash the pineapple.
Yeah, wash the
Freaky.
pineapple in
After you've
Cut
skinned it.
No, so like
Cut
cut it
pineapple?
up and then soak it in salt water and then eat it, because it's like, think about a pineapple, how you would eat it if you lived by the sea. You would like it's
Like in
I don't know.
Castaway.
Now,
You're in Castaway.
now, question for you: the pre-cut pineapples that come in the plastic jar with the liquid in it, is that salt water? Am I safe to just eat it?
Yeah, like those ones.
My partner
shouldn't-
always has one like rotting in the back of our
Those
fridge,
ones
and I
shouldn't
have to
hurt
throw
your
it out
tongue.
every now and then.
But I can't eat a pineapple because it's like it makes your tongue hurt.
Oh,
Yeah,
okay.
and
So
then-
that
I
doesn't
understand
sound
that.
like it's for me.
I can't eat eggplant because of that.
Oh,
And it's
Oh.
a similar thing to solve the eggplant is you salt it.
I don't use the
Oh.
eggplant emoji, and I don't like eggplant.
Stay away from both
Yeah, I stay away from eggplant. No eggplant for me.
No eggplant.
No, I
for
just
her.
don't like it.
Yeah, I've we've recently started these good food boxes, and then we
I do
tried
good
Hello
food, too.
Fresh and Chef's
Oh,
Plate.
nice.
All of them should be part of this podcast.
I love good food.
But I mean, just throwing it out there. But they helped me kind of come out
We
of
need
my
a bigger
box.
fridge.
Yeah, you really will.
We also need a fridge,
Yeah,
bigger fridge.
yeah. Samsung makes fantastic fridges. In all honesty, my icebreaker has been broken for the past 6 months.
Oh.
But other than that, the fridge is lovely.
We a couple years ago we got one of those Samsung fridges with the big touchscreen.
Oh my
Okay?
goodness.
And the funny thing is, it's connected to our Wi-Fi.
Yeah.
So it's at our family cottage, and my dad will always leave the door open. Okay, so every now and then I get a text out of nowhere at like 3 a.m.
It's the fridge.
The fridge door has been left open.
Oh my
you know?
God, that's amazing.
So I called Dad. I said, Dad, are you're eating or 3:30, 4 a.m.
Food shame.
He's like,
But his hours are crazy. They've
Yeah.
always been a bit crazy. His hours.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Gosh, where were we, everyone?
Okay, we were talking
Well,
about
so you're
travel
thinking
and
about
food,
getting the
fruit.
air fryer.
Getting the
No.
air fryer.
So
I
you're
want
getting the air
one.
fryer for your condo, house,
House.
where?
Yes, 'cause where are
House,
you
yeah.
living now?
Yeah, where?
So-
Well, you don't, not exactly, but generally.
Yeah.
I mean, well, I can give you my address if you want to come with pitchforks. No problem.
or an
But,
air fryer.
or an air fryer. Yeah, I do accept deliveries. I used to live in like right around the corner here
Yeah.
at One Bloor, like that 75-story
Yeah.
monstrosity.
Oh wow!
On the
So
corner.
you just recently moved. 'Cause
I
that's
recently
kind
moved.
of new.
Yeah, yeah. And so I moved last year in the kind of height of the pandemic because A, the condo building hated my dog, and B, they had a weight discrimination situation where if you had a dog over a certain size, you couldn't have it in the building.
How big's your dog?
She's a Doberman, so like she's big.
Oh
Yeah, she's
wow!
pretty big.
You've
Yeah,
got a
she's big, but
dog.
she's sweet, and she had lived in the building for many years, like 3 years by the time that the problem happened. So we ended up like
I mean,
saying,
that's weight discrimination.
Yeah, it's weight discrimination.
What's the weight limit?
30 pounds.
Oh,
now,
that's small.
That's small.
Pretty
and
small.
it, like
How
let's just
rude.
like pull that one back. My dog never barked, bit, or did anything other than like make people happy and lick them while it lived there. Meanwhile, I myself personally, my partner, and 3 of my friends had been bit by little dogs in my building. And there were 2 little dogs that had full on not been in leashes in our lobby, ran across the lobby and attacked my dog, literally like hanging off of my dog. And we had to like their owner had to take the dog off. And my dog didn't even do anything, not even a peep. My dog was standing there while a chihuahua was hanging off of her shoulder, not even growling. And like they ended up going after my dog. So a little bit of a sensitive subject.
Let me ask you this as a dog owner. Okay?
Yeah.
So I've noticed that the general culture has been pretty relaxed at where these dogs go to the bathroom, like where they pee. And I feel like over the last couple of years, it's getting like it's a total free-for-all out there.
Yep.
Like, whereas I used to think, okay, you'd look for a patch of grass or you'd go off to the side.
Yes.
Now it's like people are letting their dogs pee on like stairs and
Yes.
on like right in the middle of the sidewalk. And it's like they're proud of just this freedom of just letting them go wherever they want to
Yep.
go. And it's right now. They need to go right now.
Yep.
And a lot of the times it's a
thank
dog
you.
that you can easily, move with a leash a little bit.
Exactly.
So I don't know why cultures, like everybody socially has been very
It's entitled
acceptable of this.
wokeism is what it is. It's insidious.
Way too much so.
Yeah.
It's very entitled.
Yeah, it's my dog is my human and it can relieve itself wherever it wants. However, if you see a mentally ill person defecating on the sidewalk, people make rash snap decisions and say, oh, that's horrible. And it's like they don't even have the mind to. You're holding your dog. Right. You're able to command your dog to go somewhere else. I mean, there's emergency situations, yes. But like I was just in Los Angeles, which is not a city that people walk around in. It's a city that people who live there drive in.
Yes. Oh, yeah.
And so when I went up to like hike Runyon Canyon and stuff, and quite frankly, anywhere that we walked, because unlike most tourists, we were the weirdos who literally walked all of Los Angeles. And I'm talking, when I say walked all of Los Angeles, we walked from like Hollywood all the way to Century City.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, like all the way in 30-degree weather.
3-hour
Yeah,
walks.
it was very long. Yeah, we were going like very long ways. We walked from Santa Monica to Venice. Like we walked all over.
That's
like,
what
we
I'd
were
have to
doing-
do if I was liberal with the breadsticks.
Yeah, exactly.
Be walking.
So, I mean, you carry the breadsticks with you. Got to get that energy, the carb conversion, my anti-keto diet. But so like in California, though, it was worse than Toronto. And like I used to live at Yonge and Bloor, as I was like going about in a very long way of saying. But like at Yonge and Bloor, my dog had nowhere to pee. There were the little flower beds along Bloor Street, which like they change multiple times a year as the seasons come. There's like, landscaping companies who come and switch the flowers with the season. So there's actually people who have to come and put their hands into that soil. So I would feel bad allowing my dog to get up into the flower bed and pee or poo. So I would drag my dog or sprint from the front door of my condo all the way to the back of the Toronto Reference Library, which like for those of you who don't live in Toronto is like
That's pretty far.
pretty freaking far. It's like 3 city blocks.
Yeah.
And so like
And
I would just
resist
sprint.
the mama's pizza. en
Exactly.
route.
Exactly. And so like I just kind of book it and then my dog would pee and sometimes she'd go before I got there. But like if if she went, a number 2, I would always pick it up. And then I get to California where, people are very lax, but like also, it's California. They're so plastic and like conscious of, whether it's the environment or their image, like they're conscious. But like maybe they're just too conscious because, as you said, they're like, my dog should be able to poo wherever it wants because it's greater than God. And so if you walk in LA, you literally have to step over dog crap on every sidewalk. And I'm like up in the hills in like very nice areas. I'm like, who's even walking? Oh, it's the locals who just don't care. And they're just letting their dog shit on the sidewalk in the middle of the road. Don't pick it up. And I'm like, you live in a multi-million-dollar house. How can you not carry a poo bag or walk your ass back and
or have someone else walk your dog and give them the poo bag.
Exactly. Amen.
Get it together.
Yeah. So
the thing is, no one wants to pick it up, right?
No.
Like it's something. Getting a dog,
That's one of the reasons I don't have a dog. I just don't think I could do it.
I have 2 now. It gets worse.
Oh yeah, 2.
Oh yeah, no. Last September for my birthday, I came home.
Those are big dogs,
With-
so I can only imagine.
With
Second
another
dog, also a
Doberman?
Doberman. Oh yeah.
Oh wow.
That's probably a
Came home for my birthday last year.
Girls,
and,
boys?
Both girls, so they don't lift
Girls.
their leg and pee everywhere, but they do have pee that's very rich in nitrogen. So although it's a great weed killer, it's also a grass killer. So if they pee on the grass, it just yellows out and dies, which
Oh
is...
my gosh.
Yeah, I like
didn't
chase
know.
them around with the hose after they pee. I moved to the long story short.
Yeah.
I moved to the suburbs, and so
During COVID,
during COVID, I live in like
early. How quick did you pull the ripcord?
It was like a year and a bit. We waited.
you
we
waited.
hung on.
Yeah.
We hung on. But like there was like 400-person anti-vax protests outside of our condo every single
right.
day. Yeah.
Yeah.
And like it was insane. And then on Sundays you had the preachers, and on
Oh, yeah.
Mondays you had the screaming fellow, and then
Then
you know
Tuesdays
it
you had the
just-
people after
Yeah.
your dogs weighing with the scale.
Oh
after
my
your
God,
dog.
it's horrible. And then you
Luggage
wait
And on
until
Wednesdays, you have something else.
Oh my God. And in the summertime, you have the guy playing the pan flute, and all he does is play Despacito like 8 times a day.
Yeah, I
so you'll
remember
be
that.
laying in bed hungover, and if your window's open, you just hear do, 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 do. I don't know the tune
Yeah.
beyond that because I don't listen
Cute
to
Despacito.
Despacito. I probably
Voluntarily.
could do the whole
Yeah.
I know, right? So
my
yeah, so
God.
we moved to Burlington.
Oh, okay.
Oh,
Nice.
okay.
They've
I
got a
know.
good waterfront in Burlington.
They
though,
have a
now.
really good waterfront. It's far from me because I'm on the Oakville side of Burlington.
Okay.
I'm literally like,
Burl Oak.
I'm on Burl Oak. Yeah.
Okay.
So
I know where you are.
yeah. So I'm right next to Bronte Provincial Park.
Yeah, I know
off
exactly
Burl Oak,
where
and,
that
yeah,
is.
and so it's weird because like we tell people we're in Burlington and they think we're further than we are.
Yes,
but like
you're not
'cause
that
it's
far.
easier to
You-
say
you-
Oakville when I tweet. It says Oakville.
Yeah.
But
You're far in rush hour. It's a good
Yes.
example of just, how the system is built for these high peak capacity times. Or the system isn't built
Yeah,
for
it's
these
not
peak
built. Yeah.
capacity times. But anything
Bless
else,
you.
anything
First
else, the
podcast
run's
sneeze
easy.
ever.
sorry, it's
The
not
run's
COVID-friendly.
easy.
No.
Anything else, like
Yeah.
Now if you want to hang around after this, depending on when you like to drive home, you're welcome to.
You didn't drive. It's
I
fine.
didn't drive.
Oh, you
I
didn't
didn't drive.
drive.
We
I took a
always
cab.
taking care of our guests here. Make
yeah,
sure.
yeah. No, it's I learned that very quickly because I mean I moved there at the height of the pandemic when nobody
Take credit for his cab.
No, I'm just making sure. I'm making sure that we are a safety first podcast.
It's
here.
true.
We told him to take a cab. He paid for it.
We'll get,
yeah.
We're just getting
recommend
started
it.
here, okay?
We'll recommend the safe choice.
Come back for your next episode and we'll give you a TTC pass. Just kidding.
I'm just here for
joking.
the snacks and wine and the swag. Hello.
Yes.
We are right above Bay Station. It's actually pretty convenient.
It's yeah.
is
Well,
really
for
good,
me,
yeah.
it's like I just zip over from Dundas West, and it's like really convenient.
Oh
for me to
yeah,
come here.
you're
yeah.
at Dundas West.
Yep, still there.
I always hated traveling with you because you'd get off the UP Express early, and then I'd be like,
Yeah, because when we go to the airport,
have
we
to
take
go.
the old,
Yeah.
the uppy, the Up
Yeah.
Express.
and she'd be like done, and then I'm like,
like,
well, am
later.
I gonna go to Union or am I gonna have to get off with her, walk to the subway station, and then go across
Yeah.
the floor? Ugh.
I miss traveling together.
I
Do
don't-
you have any traveling plans coming up? Anywhere exciting you're going?
Other than back to Burl
Other
Oak.
than back to Burloak.
Well, I have been traveling.
Yes, I saw you were in Wine County.
I've been a
Yeah, all
little bit
over.
everywhere. Yeah. So
Yeah.
I just came back from a holiday. We flew down to Los Angeles. We did LA. And the idea, my partner's doing his MBA right now, and they had like a
Right.
school exchange in Silicon Valley. So we were like, let's go to LA for a week. We'll rent a car, drive up the Pacific Coastal Highway, and go to San Francisco for your school week. And you can do school while I go get drunk at a winery and
Yeah.
like do my thing. And so that was the plan.
Fantastic.
Yeah. And
That
it was
sounds like the best plan.
Were you his guidance counselor pushing him into this program?
I basically was. No, he's very self-motivated. So
Yeah.
he did it on his own accord. But we're on this trip and we're having a great time in LA and the weather's great. It's like 32 degrees
that.
and like lovely. And we're like, okay, let's drive up PCH now. Time to go to San Francisco. And as we get further and further away, it was like around as we're going through like the stretch of coast that is Big Sur, we're
Yeah.
like, it's just, you realize how much colder it's getting. Like you're up higher on the cliffs, it's windy, and suddenly it's 18 degrees. And then we get to San Francisco. I mean, we overnighted in Monterey and Carmel by the Sea. And then we drove up the morning of his school starting to San Francisco, drop off the rental car, cab into the city, and it's like 15 degrees out. And so
You need a flannel.
before we dropped off the rental car, I was like, let's condense as much as we possibly can into this. So like we did the Painted Ladies, like the Full House. We like drove across the
Yes.
Golden Gate Bridge. We're both big Star Trek fans. So like we went to like where Starfleet Academy is and across the Golden Gate Bridge, and then like did a whole like tour. And that night was supposed to be his reception. And he's like, I don't want to go. Like, it just seems stupid. So we just stayed in, went out for dinner, had a fun time. And in the time, throughout that, in the meantime, we started looking on a map at, those temperature maps on like the weather app.
Yeah.
We're like, where's warmer than here? And we're looking for the red. And we're like,
Yeah.
Phoenix,
Let's go
no,
there.
it's too far. Vegas, that looks close and cheap. And so we looked, and lo and behold, we ended up in Vegas for 5 days.
You
And-
drove there.
That's a long
no,
time
we
to be
hopped
in.
on a flight.
Oh, hopped
That's
on
a
a flight
long
from
time
San
to be in
Francisco.
Vegas.
A long time to be
It's
in Vegas.
Vegas. You only would need to go for a couple days.
Yeah. 5 days was fun. We did leave. So we rented a car in Vegas because like 5 days would have been way too hard. But
Especially if you're in the heat
Yeah.
of the night there.
exactly. And so
The never ending night.
No, that's the best thing about Vegas. If you are a normal person, which like I used to not be a normal person, but now I'm like an old suburbanite. And so like I went to Vegas and I'd wake up at like 7 a.m. and be like, let's go for a walk. And we'd go for a
Yeah.
walk, and there'd be the people, cigar hanging out of their mouth.
Yeah.
4 empty drinks next to them, and you're like, you
still
haven't
out.
slept yet.
Yeah,
Yeah. And like the girl's like standing beside her partner, and he's like just like cigar ash this long, and she's holding her shoes, and she's like, I'm gonna go to bed now. And
Yeah.
it's like that's what happens in Vegas, and that's why it stays in Vegas. But
Yeah.
we rented a car in Vegas because 5 days too much, and we drove out. We drove to Arizona and then
Oh,
to
nice.
Utah. Yeah. And so there's 5 national parks in Utah. They've like wittily branded them as the Mighty 5.
That's nice.
Yeah. And I had been to 3 on a
That is
media influencer
Yeah.
trip because, that's how I saw the world was a
Yeah.
media influencer.
And you wanted to complete the 5.
And I wanted to complete the 5, and
Yeah,
2
of
of them were
course.
close enough to Vegas. So I'm like, how do you feel about going to Zion and Bryce Canyon? And he's like, what are those? And
You're like,
I'm
oh,
like,
okay.
you'll be happy. You'll be happy. And so I drove us. It was, a whole day of driving and exploring. Got a speeding ticket along the way, which was a little
Touchy.
more than what I thought. I was,
Yeah.
but
Adds a little
What's the
more
speed
to
limit
the
on
trip.
that drive?
so it was 110 miles. No, sorry.
Kilometers.
It was,
110 like 70
It
miles
was,
per hour?
Sorry, it was 80. It was 80 miles per hour on
Wow.
some stretches of Nevada
That's
highway,
fast.
but it was then 75 through Arizona or 70,
Mm-hmm.
and then in Utah it dropped down, I think, to 70. In between Bryce Canyon and Zion National Park, I was like, because you drive through Zion and you like go up a mountain, and then you drive through this like the 2-mile mountain tunnel where it's like just pitch black and it's a single road tunnel that you're driving through, and there's like the occasional like carved in the side of the mountain window that's like shows you a bit of light, but otherwise it's like kind of weird.
Wow.
Like very Bugs Bunny. And like we come at the other side and like you're in the country-ish but like still in the mountains, and so I like passed through this town and it was 65, needless to say, where I was doing 90, and
That'll get
wasn't
ya.
good. Yeah, it will get you. I thought I was going to get off, but then unfortunately the officer turned away from the vehicle. We had a really good exchange, and he turned away from the vehicle and fell down the ditch. Like full on fell down the
cop
ditch.
did?
fell down
Yeah,
the
because he was on the
ditch?
passenger side because it was like a 2-lane country road, and he was standing like
Wow.
in the ditch on the edge, and we had such a good exchange, and I just like I felt he like I've never been pulled over. I've never had this exchange before.
Oh my God.
I'm a very safe driver. Yeah, I'm a very safe driver, and I mean that's subjective, obviously, but I just was not expecting this, and so I like had a good exchange, and the man walks away, and literally as he's turning around, he's turning his body, and his feet just both come out from under him. Like had he
Like
been,
on loose gravel,
like
type
on loose gravel
shoulder?
into a shoulder, but
into
like it's
down
a
a
ditch,
ditch.
on a cliff, so it's like going down, and it like he was like this close to bashing his head on my rental
my
car,
God.
and so like.
Ditch you later.
But like, yeah, ditch you later. And I'm sitting there like pinching my legs, trying not to laugh. Cause like I watched this all happen out of my side mirror. And like, I'm a nice person. I don't want to sound like a horrible person here, but like you watch enough Jackass and like horrible like kids getting hurts meme and like kids getting hurt memes. There we go. Mismatch the pluralization there. It's the wine. I'm saying it. But yeah, he just kind of like whoop. And then he had to like scrape his way back up and then confidently walk back to his vehicle and run my license. And so
Did you
by
take
then
a video?
I did not. I fucking wish. It's imprinted in my mind forever. And like my partner was trying not to laugh. I'm like looking at him like, you better not laugh. You don't laugh. He can hear us. The windows are down. Like, what if he looks?
Oh my
There's a
God.
dash cam. They're going to see us. And so like, we're just sitting there. We're like good citizens. And then he comes back and he's like, your Ontario license doesn't work. Where is this from? I'm like, I'm Canadian. And he's like, well, it doesn't work in our system. And I'm like, okay. He's like, well, here you go. I'll give you a citation, blah, blah, blah. And so like in Utah, you have to pay it in 7 days or they'll issue a warrant for your arrest. So
Yes, you
$400 Canadian
Wow.
later,
Wow.
I learned my lesson. Don't speed. And
In Utah.
In Utah.
Yeah, look,
He asked
400
me,
passing. I guess passing for me 180, 220. You'd learn your lesson.
yeah. So what? Dollars or
Dollars.
kilometers per
Dollars.
hour? Because
Dollars.
moments prior, I was doing more than 180 kilometers per hour, which is why I'm not so upset. I know. I didn't.
Yeah, the speed
I
limits are
didn't
high though
know.
there.
But like also you just like I don't know, my
Not that
car no, not that. My car has heads up display, right? So
Yeah.
I'm used to seeing my speed projected
Yeah.
into the screen. And I just like in this rental was not looking at my speedometer as much. I was looking at the beautiful scenery.
Oh yeah.
Like
Yeah, sorry about it.
yeah,
Scenery,
sorry.
hello.
That's exactly what I said to him. He's like, "Did you
I
know
got
that?"
lost in your state scenery.
That's what
It's
I
so
said.
beautiful.
It was endearing. I thought he was.
I would have tried to finagle myself out of that one.
Yeah, he was a very
We'd
nice
love to
looking
see
man.
that, Casey.
He was a very nice
love
looking
to see
man.
how you pull that one off.
Wide brimmed hat,
Oh.
nice
I
nice
love how you
tan
remember
to
exactly
him.
what he looked like.
Yeah, he looked kind of like Jensen Ackles, who plays what's his name in the show Supernatural.
Oh, he's hot.
Yeah, like the guy who was also Eric Brady on Days of Our Lives. Don't ever put this on the podcast because I don't need people knowing why I know that.
Well, I've been
Fun
watching Young
fact.
and the Restless my entire life.
I
so
heard they just
don't
had a
worry.
same-sex wedding.
They did.
Oh my
yes,
God.
Cassie and Mariah. They just got married.
It took them long
There's a
enough.
Cassie.
yeah, there's a
Oh.
Cassie, and she's a twin, and her twin sister died, but then she found it's a really long story. I can't explain it right
They've
now.
had
That's
gays
a whole
on
other podcast of
Days.
me and the Young and the Restless.
They've had gays on Days for so long, and the Y and the R really like.
Well,
did
they've
not
been
do- oh, they had
been
gays.
together for a
Okay, so they had
while.
gays.
Like,
Okay. Oh, it's just the first gay wedding.
it's the first gay wedding, but they've
Okay.
been on the show for years and they've been dating
Okay.
for years. So yeah, they
Is that something you'll notice? Like if
Like,
you
does this
watch a
show
bunch
have
of
gay
episode,
people?
will you be like, "There's nobody gay around here"? Will you notice that?
you notice that? Yeah.
I think I'm more conscious of it now. And it's funny because like we have these conversations on inclusion and it's like I didn't and like I guess maybe it's just that society has like conditioned me to not look for those things. So I don't. But it's funny because when you think of it in the context of like what television and content is like today, it's true. And like today I like Netflix's algorithm suggests LGBTQ plus
that makes
shows
sense.
for
Yeah.
me.
I get anything with a strong female lead.
Yeah.
Romantic comedies with a strong female lead.
Yep.
Sign me up.
Oh, yeah.
Murder,
Yep.
strong female lead.
Oh, yeah.
Done.
I get like it's so funny. Like if you look at my partner's Netflix account and mine, it's like his is all like World War I documentaries and like historical stuff, and then mine is like The Ultimatum and Love Is Blind.
The
Like,
Circle?
The Circle is also
Are
on
you
there.
watching?
I haven't ever watched it.
Oh.
I know. I'm
It's
sorry.
too, almost done.
I added it to my list, so it haunts me still, but
It's
No,
trying to
like-
get you to watch it.
it really is. But I just did Bling Empire.
Oh yeah,
the new season.
I'm on that too.
People
Did you
are-
watch the South African one that came out?
No, but I think I would really enjoy that.
Yeah, it was pretty
South
dramatic.
Africa is my absolute favorite accent in the entire world.
Same.
Of all accents, like
Same.
my parents have New Zealand accents, which is a very beautiful accent. Not like Australians, like
That was a little judgmental. We won't go as far as racist, but
I love
not on this
Australia.
pod.
I used to
but
live there, so I'm just joking. It's like an ongoing battle. But
it's
I mean,
a battle between the Kiwis
and
and
the
the
Aussies.
Aussies.
But I mean, I absolutely love South African accent. Is my favorite.
It is.
I think
Really?
it's so beautiful. Yeah.
Yeah, I read a novel by Irving Welsh, who wrote Train Spotting, and it's written entirely in South African dialect, but like phonetically. So it's just like it's weird to wrap your head around it because you have to literally.
They write
What's
it
it
like
called?
the
writes
accent.
it. Yeah, like it.
So
he
when you
writes
read it,
you're reading it in the
You're
accent.
reading in the accent.
Yeah, yeah.
Oh, that's
What's it called?
interesting. I've never thought about that.
All right, let's just put it's a very heavy book.
Okay.
It's called A Marabou Stork
Okay.
Stork Nightmare.
Okay.
Very good book.
Yeah.
Very graphic.
Oh.
I'm
A graphic
warning
book.
you. Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like
Like murder
it's good.
graphic. Or
Like I
sexual
did K.
graphic?
I was in like grade 12 English class and I did my essay on it and they allowed me to do it.
Oh, you rebel.
But like the teacher had to vet what I was saying in the essay because I mean, I could spoil the story for you,
No,
but I
no,
won't.
don't.
But there
But
is
I'll look it up
There is
as I-
sexual
Remember
there
the
is
title?
there is sexual abuse.
This is off
I don't
podcast.
remember
I
the
can
title.
look
You're
it
gonna
up.
have to use. You're gonna have to go back.
Please send me whatever he said.
I just remember Marabou or something.
Yeah,
I'll
you know,
just-
now that we're talking, I mean, like
I
now
mean,
my
could you share it on Hover and then I
should
will
hover it
on Hover, yeah,
because
yeah.
that way I can remember it and then I can comment with what I think about it.
Yeah, you know,
Right?
like
We can
now I'm
start a
actually
discussion.
I'm like I don't know how like now I'm like moving into the realm of film producer. I just like I feel like this is a book that I could do justice to adapting it, and I
Yeah.
don't
bet.
think anyone has. I mean, I wrote the essay 14 plus years
Yeah.
ago.
I can dust
so-
that
It's been
thing
on
off.
your mind a long
I
time.
could dust that off and hand it to a director.
Yeah, well, what's that kind of been like moving into like we've talked a bit about like your career journey
Yeah,
and like
yeah.
you know, internship and then Flair and then influencer life and things.
Yeah.
What's it like moving into your new sort of film director-y, producer-y?
Yeah, gosh. It it's nice because I moved to Toronto to become a.
I'm just making
Are
sure
you
Casey's
are you like
talking into the
putting
mic.
like
He's
the-
giving me the cue to talk into the microphone because sometimes I like. get
Oh, I
excited.
thought he was saying that I was getting boozy by
No.
stumbling on
No,
my
that's
words.
fine.
No,
He's telling
I
me
don't
to talk
notice
into the
that.
mic.
I just want to make sure Casey's talking right into the
Yeah,
mic.
talk right into the mic. Don't like.
But she's good.
I just get excited.
Don't you talk away from the mic there, Casey. We need to hear that lovely voice.
Okay, continue.
Okay, so I am
Oh yeah.
I'm thrilled to be back in the film industry now, but still in the media side of
Yeah.
it.
Not as an actor.
Not as an actor. I mean, you know, one day maybe, but not at the moment.
We are focusing on a career in production.
Great.
And like producing, sorry.
Right.
And and directing. But it's not quite acting, but one day I will just put myself into a role. And that's how you kind of do the Tarantino flip. And
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I say 100%. Also, if you need someone like me, I'm available to be also in a
Perfect.
role. I have been in a
Perfect.
few films myself,
Oh.
actual films. Don't get any ideas.
I'm not. I
good to
wasn't
know.
thinking about it.
yeah.
Actual films.
Onlyfans.com/Casey Stewart.
Do have an account, but I have not posted anything.
Oh,
I
I
just got
haven't.
approved for monetization, but I was thinking, how can I use this in a creative way for anyone listening?
You'd have to get real creative.
I will admit that I too have an account if you search through my Twitter, but it's only for viewing
It's
my
only-
friends' content. I don't put anything out.
It's only friends.
I do accept free subscriptions if anyone wants to send me.
I was thinking that
Someone sent me a free subscription over Twitter. They were like, "Would you like a free subscription to my OnlyFans?" And I'm like, "Well, you know, you look okay, so I guess we could see what's under the hood." But
free
it was
subscription.
a free subscription.
Gifted. You've been gifted.
And then it's like it hits you at that 30-day mark, and they're like, "Your child subscription's about to
$9.99
end. Do you
from
want
here
nine?"
on in.
I'm like, "Bitch, that's more than Netflix. I don't like you that much."
well, not anymore.
Oh, I know that's
Netflix.
true.
But I mean,
Jack in
Well, a
those
lot of
I-
people are been
I
a
mean-
lot of cancellations.
oh, I mean, like, but also, like, how many hours do you spend watching Netflix? If you break it down hourly, is it really that much? I don't think so.
No.
For the joy that I get from Netflix and the entertainment it provides me, I would even pay maybe a little bit more. Not a lot.
Don't say
but
that.
It depends on how much you're
Take
watching.
that back.
Depends on how much you're watching.
I spend a lot of hours watching shows while I'm doing things, while I'm like, I mean, I've tried to refrain from just sitting and watching. I've been practicing my tap while I watch.
Ever since my daughter was born, I don't think I've watched much of
No.
anything. And I've been thinking of canceling. I've been thinking of canceling.
You've been thinking of canceling?
Canceling Netflix.
But do you have other subscriptions like Disney, Prime?
Far too many.
Do you
All of
have?
them.
I only got
I have
Disney.
all of them.
Yeah, it's
I have-
snack
Excuse me
away.
I have-
while I sneak
No,
in
go
my
for it.
pretzels.
I have
Snack.
Prime. I have
Prime.
Prime. I have Disney Plus. I have Netflix.
Okay.
Yeah.
Do you have cable?
I have cable.
Yep.
Oh.
Hey, don't hate us on us
I know.
cable.
We have cable because
Okay.
Sean's in TV
Yes, see?
production. So
Yeah,
he's
we're-
like, we need cable.
It's the industry
and I
that's keeping
cannot
it
live without
afloat.
my Young and the Restless, Jeopardy, and Wheel. Okay, I'm for those
Jeopardy
shows.
and Wheel back to back.
I do the
Every
7 to
night?
8 hour almost every night when I can.
Yeah,
Oh my god, I love that.
I'm and Young and the Restless. I am
Yeah.
literally like a
You're
small
my
old lady
parents.
here.
You are my parents.
that's how you knew Carnival Eats.
Yeah, because he was like, we were talking about. He was like, oh yeah, I know Noah Cap. I was like,
He was my big buddy at camp.
I was like, his show's on before Y&R. And he's like, whoa, didn't know you were so cool there, Case.
So wait, let's take it back. What were you saying? You had
All
your
your
daughter.
subscriptions.
All your
You
subscriptions.
don't watch anymore.
Yeah.
You've got 5.
Yeah, all my subscriptions. I've got the 5 of them, and we don't watch really any of them, other than Disney. We watch Disney Plus.
Right.
But
Kardashians?
yeah, part of it is.
I didn't know.
Yeah.
That's the only reason I got it. So I
Oh,
could watch
wow.
the new
Is it
show.
on Disney
Yeah.
Plus?
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's on
I-
Hulu,
I
which is
love-
owned
yeah,
by
'cause
Disney.
I have Hulu.
Now, I must say that whole series started with an awesome drone sequence in the very first episode.
Yes. Nelson?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, I love-
Drone
I-
operator.
Drone operator. I was fortunate enough to be credited as a drone operator on one of Casey's
Sean's-
boyfriend
yeah.
Sean's projects.
He
Oh.
was shooting something for a group of 7 type VR experience.
Yeah,
and
yeah.
we
Was it with the McMichael Gallery or?
can't tell you, don't know, and don't want to say the wrong thing, but we worked with Nelson.
You say group of 7, it's probably McMichael.
Yes.
Yeah.
I could get back
We
to you on that.
actually, it's a funny story because we went up and we met in
Algonquin.
by Algonquin Park.
Yeah.
And I did a full day of just slow sequence nature type Muskoka Woods,
Yep.
like, Algonquin photography. And Sean sent me the text thread with the cinematographer
Yeah.
afterwards. And the cinematographer was like, oh man, I'm watching this drone sequence. It's this smooth sequence into the woods. It's awesome. Oh,
This
it's
fucking
This
great.
is fucking great. It's just Really funny to see the
Like,
positive
send
feedback.
him a
It's like-
screenshot
Yeah,
of
so I
that.
got a screenshot of it. It's hilarious. But yeah, I love operating drones, and I was into RC helicopters as a kid. So I've drones are really easy compared to an older RC helicopter.
Yes.
But the drones that DJI has put out are astonishingly good.
Yeah.
I must say. So
DJI
I love
is
it.
like a really cool success story for
Oh,
a
yeah.
Chinese factory. There's not a lot of Chinese factories that see as much mainstream success as DJI does. And
No.
yeah,
They put out a quality product.
they really
and
do.
and it also, I buy the insurance on it. I've got like flight insurance on it. I could fly the thing into the lake, and they
Amazing.
send me out a new
same,
one.
Same.
Which one do you have?
I have the like Mini 2 or something.
Yeah, you have the
it's a
Mini
little
2.
one.
Yeah,
The first
that's
day that
great.
I was up in gosh, where was I?
They just released a new one. I hovered it. Yeah,
What?
Mhm.
Okay.
A new Mini.
Oh, damn them.
Mhm, I
Just
know.
bought mine last year.
Oh yeah, it's better than that one.
Oh, I was up on a farm in Caledon, and I was flying it, and this guy started talking to me, this young fellow. He was really attractive. So I'm like looking at him while also flying, and he's like asking me to show him. And so I'm like, yeah, and I'm showing him. And then like I fly my drone into the forest, and
Oh, shit.
it like hits the tree and drops down 15 feet and is like hovering in the canopy of the trees. And I'm like, oh my God, it hasn't broken yet. It's still in flight. I can get it out. And I'm like, let me see if I can back it out. And I like go to back it out, and it just hits a tree branch and goes flying. But surprisingly, fell from like 60 feet up in the air.
Good.
Still perfectly fine. Not a propeller
Wow.
broken, not a thing. The like body had like kind of popped apart a bit, but you just snapped it back together. I've flown it like 20 times since, and it's not barely even scratched. Mind you, I did get the insurance, so I'm just waiting for the day that it like does break, so I can get the new one.
So I've actually had a successful insurance turnaround with them on my dad's Phantom, one of the white ones, the big white ones.
Yeah.
It got crashed, not by me. I don't know how it got crashed. The story is, a brontosaurus has swung its head and hit it or something. But it was crashed, completely totaled.
Yep.
And we, had to tell DJI, hey, this drone's been totaled. And we had to mail it out. And a new drone came back. You just don't send the battery. You send the drone out, a new one came back.
Wow.
Yeah, it was amazing.
Hot tips for
Wow,
drone returns.
yeah.
Oh,
That's
yeah.
pretty good.
I looked at The Verge did an article. I think I did hover it.
Yeah.
About the costs of the components. And the batteries are by far, ultimately the biggest cost. They'd be the most
Really?
expensive thing for them to replace. They don't want to replace that battery, basically. But the body itself is very cheap. They've got huge margins on the body. Like it may be, like for mine.
I guess because it's mostly plastic, right? Yeah. Oh.
My it's not a Mavic. It's the middle size one. I forget the name of it. Is the Air 2, which is great. That thing sells for like $1,800.
Yep.
The Flymore package.
Yep.
And maybe $1,000 of that is the drone. It costs them $200 to make that drone.
What?
Yeah.
Oh my God.
So they're cranking
Wow,
out that
yeah,
thing for $200.
That's insane.
Yeah, it's insane. With that
I'm
camera,
in the
and
wrong business. I really am.
Well,
No, you're
can you
in the
imagine
right
that-
biz for
Can you imagine
you.
how much they had to
I am.
put into that?
I know that's
Yeah.
true.
Billions of R&D
Yeah. Oh,
to get
totally.
that thing going.
Totally. And like,
But it's staggering, the
Yeah.
technology in that.
yeah, it really is.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
for Canadian Geographic,
Yes.
so they found you, or did you do a project with them? How'd that start?
Yeah. So I mean, I started at Canadian Geographic. Gosh, like a decade ago. I'm really aging
From
myself
Flair.
here. Before Flair. So I actually left Canadian. So I started at Canadian Geographic as an intern.
Okay.
And while I was an intern, I wrote like this 12-page report. It was like in the dawn of social media for business. So when brands still weren't really on Instagram or Facebook. And I wrote this 12-page report that basically said, the future of media is on social, and these are the ways that we're going to engage. And this is, the platforms that we'll use. And I created essentially a kind of a early version of what would now be considered a digital strategy.
Yeah.
And the team at Canadian Geographic and the Royal Canadian Geographical Society looked at it and they said, this is the future of our publishing business. And almost immediately they hired me as social media editor, which was a job that had never even existed before. And there weren't really any magazines that had social media editors at that time. Like if there was someone on Facebook, it was being handled by an editor or something like that. So they took a chance with me, and I worked there for a while, and then left for Flair because they're based in Ottawa, and I wasn't working out of the Toronto office, so I was doing like a half a month there, half a month here kind of thing, and it was taxing. So I went into fashion and quickly realized I didn't want to really be in fashion, and then ended up in travel. And from travel, I actually ended up back at Canadian Geographic. So Travel About had become such a name, I guess.
Yeah,
I mean,
it was a thing.
yeah, it was a thing. And so, and like they saw it and they watched it come up and they saw that it was everywhere. So Canadian Geographic brought me back on board when we were looking at revitalizing and rebranding our travel magazine about 5 or 6 years ago. And I was brought on as at first as, gosh, what was it? A travel editor at large. Then it was like another role. Then I also became the social media editor again, in addition to the other role. And then I've kind of cycled through like 6 different roles at the company, getting from where I was there to where I am now, which is director of digital and video. And so like
awesome.
And so somehow along the way, I stumbled back into the film industry, which is where I was most passionate about and where I wanted to be in my career. So, when Canadian Geographic, which is traditionally a magazine, and it's owned by a nonprofit, the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, which has its roots in exploration and education. Obviously, its biggest program is Canadian Geographic, the magazine, but over the past few years, we've been developing a film company called Canadian Geographic Films, and you both came to the premiere of our first feature documentary that has just been blowing me away every day with how well it's doing, which is, in total thanks to our filmmaker, Sean Stiller, who is just exceptionally talented.
Also, though, the choice to pull the trigger on that film was good.
Yeah.
Because there's plenty of films that you could have decided to make.
Exactly.
That would not have been.
As a debut film, it was
perfect.
It was really
and especially now.
Yeah, especially now, given what is, where we are as a nation and in our realization of the mistreatment of Indigenous peoples. I think that, we're really living in a renaissance of Canadian film and quite frankly in film on a global scale because of what is happening in the realm of representation, not just with Indigenous peoples, but with Black people, with people of color. That, in the past in my lifetime, I've seen the creation of the Indigenous Screen Office, the Black Screen Office, and these things are things that were not even a dreamable thing for the industry years and years ago. And so you've got, millions, billions of people growing up on the planet and in Canada and abroad that have grown up not seeing this fair representation of themselves in Hollywood movies and stuff. And so that wrong is finally being righted now. And so it's refreshing. And I think that this film in particular, we were just so blessed to have the trust of the subject of our film, Phyllis Webstad, who is the founder of the Orange Shirt Society and the Orange Shirt Day movement. And it was her trusting our filmmaker, Sean Stiller, that really created the product that you saw, which is resonating, with people around the world. So it's continuing its festival journey. I thought it would be done after Hot Docs, and now in the past week, we've got 5 new festival requests coming in from
different places around the world.
Oh yeah, all over. Today, 2 came in from Oslo. We've had we just premiered in Missoula, Montana at the International Wildlife Film Festival, where we won an award. And now that's going to go on a tour as well as part of their programming. And we're looking at premiere in Montreal and a couple other places. We've been invited to Estonia, but are kind of weighing that with the current geopolitical situation that's happening in the world. But there's a lot happening with the film, which is just very interesting.
Do you have a credit on that film?
I do. Yeah, I was a producer.
Oh,
Yeah,
yeah,
amazing.
yeah.
Congratulations.
Thank
Yeah,
you.
congratulations.
Yeah, and I mean, it's just it's wild. Like even today. So you asked me if I have any travel planned soon, and it's like we
You're
live in
hitting
this
the
world where
festival
like
circuit, perhaps.
festival circuit, but
You're
then
back
like
on this festival circuit.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I know.
Yeah.
From
Yeah.
where you came.
yeah, and I got this email like yesterday from a Turkish English broadcaster, which is like their version of CBC over there. It's their public broadcaster English language, and they want to acquire Returning Home. And just like 2 days prior, I was out for dinner with some colleagues, and they're saying, "Oh, like we've been chatting with like someone from Turkey, like in the embassy." And I'm like, "Okay, Turkey. Okay, this is weird. Things are lining up with Turkey here." And then someone else calls me the other day and is talking Turkey. And then today, talking Turkey. And then today, I get an email from the Turkish Tourism Board talking to me about Turkish food. And then yesterday, this is
love
like the
Turkish
long
food.
way. Yeah. And then yesterday, I get an email from one of our.
Oh, you did?
I did.
Yes, you did.
I posted on Hover how much I love
I
Turkish
gotta
food.
order some Turkish food. You got
Yeah.
Turkish food?
Yeah, I'll give you my recos.
Okay,
Keep
okay.
going,
Right, you
sorry.
should have your recos.
Yeah. So like Turkey, never like I've always wanted to go to Turkey, but it's not been like at the front of my bucket list, you know?
No, yeah.
Yeah.
And so then, I get a call from one of my colleagues, not like at our company, but at a travel partner that we have through the Royal Canadian Geographical Society, gives me a call and she says, I'm running a media trip to Turkey next month and we have a space. Would you like to come? We're going to
Stars
like
align.
Istanbul all the way to Cappadocia, and staying in cave hotels. And I'm like, what? That sounds like it's right up my alley.
Yeah,
You love
I've
a
actually,
cave.
I might
I've
have a
actually
meeting in
been
June.
to one in Utah.
Ooh.
Yeah, you have.
Oh, yes,
Yeah.
yes.
Yeah, we
Yeah,
went to
there's-
the Arizona cave.
Oh, Arizona.
Yeah, Arizona.
Yeah, not so
But
nice.
I mean, you
Not as
handled the
nice.
caves better than I did, and I think that would be great. And please do.
This is more
document
like
some
the
of it.
Mykonos style.
Yeah,
I mean,
yeah.
it's Cappadocia
Please
style.
document some
but
of this
like,
on
yeah.
social media because
Oh,
I would like
yeah.
to go on the cave adventure with you, just not like actually with you.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
yeah.
what's the dream trajectory of this movie as it relates to like Canadian Geographic and you as a producer?
Yeah, gosh, I wish that I could answer that openly and honestly because, I mean, the nature of the film business is a bunch of NDAs and,
Right.
Right.
and deals
But just-
until things go public.
So
but
not specifically, but just walk me through what ultimately is the process. So like right now, like do you wait for a streamer to buy it or like
yeah, so
where's
we have sold it to a streamer in Canada. It will be coming out in September. I can't say who yet.
Yeah, I won't
but
cancel
it will
yet
be,
then.
Yeah, it won't be
Thou shall not cancel.
Thou shall
Any
not cancel.
services.
Don't be a churner.
yeah, don't
The
Yeah.
industry is hurt by the
You're
people who
such a-
churn
yeah.
their membership.
You're
Don't
such a
churn.
10-year churner.
But
Oh,
no,
I love it.
yeah. So I mean, the like ultimate dream of any filmmaker, and I wasn't the filmmaker. Sean Stiller is really was an outstanding filmmaker here. But I think that and the dream for any film company is to have your film seen by as many people as you can. And so we're just thrilled to have a major partner in Canada for distribution. We're now, as we continue this festival run, we're now looking at international distribution. I guess, like, I don't know where this is going to be seen by them. So we're talking to BBC in the UK and
great.
some other people in the US as well, which I'm
Yeah, that's
unable to
exciting.
name. But we've got a lot of interest in the film, which is nice.
Oh yeah.
And so that's, I mean, for me, it's a dream come true. I think for our filmmaker, Sean Stiller, he wasn't expecting it to be this big. And so
No,
if you look back on interviews with him, he's just grateful for
Yeah.
everything
Oh, yeah.
that has happened.
Yeah, it's
And
really exciting.
yeah.
Yeah. And so,
Well,
it's that's it.
Great. Well, you don't have anything to worry about. We didn't bootleg it. Or
Yeah.
anything.
Yeah,
We did
perfect.
not bootleg it. I will watch it on whatever streaming platform.
Amazing.
I have all them.
I mean, if you want a
Really-
bootlegged version, you're talking to the
You
right
can just
person.
ask you.
So,
If I
like,
wanted to host a screening at my house, I'm sure I could do that.
you can do that. We
We
do
could host a
maintain
screening.
special screening
What
rights
about
with our
here?
current distribution
Maybe
agreement.
we could have a
It's not a bad streaming place.
yeah.
yeah.
Actually,
Maybe
we'd
even-
like to do a live stream from here where we get 6
Eventually.
people and something live.
And it would be great if you came
On
back
TV.
for that because
Yeah.
I
Oh,
think
totally.
That would be
it's
great.
good having you here today. And I'd love to have you back in here. You know?
Anytime.
For sure.
I'll be a regular if you'll have
Yeah.
me. Like,
Especially when we have that grilling episode. I know you're already ready to take a seat in the gallery.
yes, I'm going to be the person who raises his hand and requests for grilled cheese to be grilled.
Oh, I love it. Well,
Excuse me, hello, can we interrupt the taping, please? I brought some aged cheddar and sourdough handmade by my grandmother. I'd like you to grill it. Thanks.
do it. We're just,
Here
we're
is
a free form
$100.
conversation here. We're having fun. You know?
Absolutely.
I love freeform conversation.
Yeah, I love it.
As I
All you
slide
love
off and eat
freeform snacks
pretzels.
as well. It's like a form of a breadstick, really.
So we can bring it back to the day and learn a little bit about whether you grew up in Burlington or you decided to just move to Burlington.
Yeah, gosh. I'm not from Burlington, and I mean, when you tell people you live in Burlington, they definitely ask what the connection is, because it's not a place that many people would choose to move outside of Toronto. I'm from Ottawa, and like it's hilarious because like I grew up in the suburbs of Ottawa and always wanted to be a city kid, and moved to the city when I was 17 and have been in Toronto ever since. I moved to London, England for a bit and was in New York briefly.
Really? I love London.
I love London. If I could be there right now, I would
love
be.
London.
I can
too.
imagine living there. It's quite unique.
I lived in Marylebone, so like steps from Selfridges, like a 5-minute walk to Oxford Circus. Like it was amazing. I lived in a very small bubble, but it was great. And
The decision to keep buildings short was actually a good one.
it
in
was.
London.
It was.
Because you get this never-ending little town effect,
Yes.
which is phenomenal,
Yeah,
actually,
it's
and
great.
it limits traffic too, because you don't have all these 100-story buildings
Like
to
your-
fill up from the
With like
streets.
900 people living in them to
Yeah.
like,
And, like-
go down and drive around.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's going to be a really big problem for Toronto, especially particularly this neighborhood,
Yeah,
which
big
was
time.
designed. I mean, I'll send you the photo after this conversation because it's at home, but my in-law gave me this old archival photo of Bloor Street
Yeah.
in like the 1900s, and it
Yeah.
was fucking farmland.
Oh,
like,
yeah.
there was no one living here. There were some mansions down in like
Yeah, but
Jamestown and off of Jarvis and stuff, but like nothing up here. It was, forest and country. And so this area was not, and it's horrible to use this word, but settled is the correct word. But when people settler society started moving north from the lake, and densifying the city, they weren't densifying Bloor Street for quite some time.
Oh, yeah.
And so today you see like Charles Street, which I when I first moved to Toronto was in the annex for like 6 years. Ended up in Yorkville because it was where I wanted to be. I'm from Ottawa, and I was just like, Yorkville, yay.
It happens.
Yeah. And so
Yes, yeah.
I would still live here if I hadn't have moved, honestly.
Yeah.
If I could afford a house on Admiral
Yeah.
or Lowther, I would be there right now. But like I was just like living on Charles and in one of the first condos, like the X condos. And like then there was X2, which I also lived in. And now there's 12 other condos built or being built on that street, which if you do the math, each one of those has a minimum of 700 people living in them. That's thousands of people that you've added to one street in a
Right.
neighborhood.
Yeah.
Right.
And there's many other
two
condos.
lanes,
Yeah,
same
two
amount of lanes.
Yeah. 2 lanes on a one-way street.
Right.
Not even 2 lanes on a two-way. It's a one-way. So like the densification is not actually being planned for. They're going to end up having to literally tear up roads and reroute traffic and figure out how they're going to fix this. Or they're going to just have to make entire communities public transit focused and like remove the traffic altogether, like distilleries.
I mean, working remote has got to help it a bit.
Yeah.
But now with people coming back online, I look down at Avenue Road, University, like when it goes around Queen's Park.
Yep.
It's backed up now.
It is.
Every day.
Yes.
And just before the pandemic, they took lanes away and turned them into bicycle lanes.
Yep.
And during the pandemic, everybody was kind of like, oh, it didn't really, who even misses that lane? You know what I mean? You could barely, do we need an extra lane there?
Now it's a problem.
Now it's a problem. Like with
Everyone's like,
with
"Fuck the
life
bicycle
actually
people."
existing,
Aw, I
it's a
love
problem.
You're
And
like,
with
get the
people
fuck out of my
commuting-
way.
So
I love the bike lanes, but I understand the problem.
You're a cyclist, Casey.
I
can
have
see it in you.
I do, but I ride a
She's a-
vintage.
She's a fixie or
No,
a
no,
road
no.
bike rider.
No, I am not at all. I ride. My bike is for cruising only. It has a basket. It has white wall tires. It's got a very relaxing, bouncy seat.
Okay,
it's a
the
vintage
fact
twin
that you were
bike.
able to say
Use it.
this cruise bike and whatever white
White
wall
wall
tires are means you're a bicycle person.
I am
and
a
I don't
bicycle,
mean
but
that
I'm
in
not,
a bad way.
I don't bike I bike for leisure.
Okay.
I'm not biking.
So you're not one who
I'm
is
not
going
rushing,
to
honey.
impart your wisdom boldly onto
I am-
someone.
Motorists?
Yeah,
I am
yeah.
a leisure
or the
cyclist.
well, no. I'm
not
sorry.
rushing.
I didn't
I don't-
preface my attack on Casey for being a bicycle person.
let's hear
But
it.
I
Let's hear the
understand.
preface.
Damn it, damn it.
One of my close friends was dating what we call a bicycle person.
Yeah, I know.
They're
I know
like,
the
a road biker. They go,
Fixie,
they
in and out
yeah,
the
they
lanes.
like, they're in and out. Well, like, there's like different kinds of cyclists. There's those ones which hang out in Kensington Market, usually, or Queen West. And then there's like the road bikers who like go out to like Burlington, Oakville and bike along the escarpment and
Right.
compete in competitions.
And
And
the spandex.
yeah, in the spandex. That was her boyfriend. He competed in the spandex, and he, like, those kinds of people would like look at your bike and then judge your bike and be like, "You're on the wrong bike. Oh, that's not a
How
city
heavy
bike."
is
or
that
like,
bike?
Yeah, they were
That's-
like, if
that's
you can't
real
pick it up with
heavy.
one
Those, yeah.
finger, it's too heavy.
yeah, that was
Yeah.
the yeah.
Is that not our Cervelo?
Is it not like carbon whatever?
Yeah, carbon fiber.
I'm like,
Yeah.
isn't carbon bad for the environment? Stop making your bikes out of carbon. My God.
Yeah.
That was a very,
I bike
uneducated
to
response,
carbon.
but still.
I bike to carbon neutral
Yeah.
the bike.
Yeah.
That's
This
amazing.
bike is carbon neutral by riding.
Yeah. And so he was a bike person, and it exposed me to bike culture. Like bike culture, and you drive, so you'll understand when I'm attacking bike culture, which like every Torontonian who watches this is going to throw a tomato at me when I'm walking down the street next. But like the
okay,
bike
you don't live here
culture is like
anymore.
exemplified by the people who walk down the street or through Trinity Bellwoods carrying their bike by the center of the handlebars instead
just-
of like this.
Or just the seat.
Or no, that's the worst. That's when you know they're the ultimate bicycle douche. They're not a bicycle
they
person
just
at that
hold
point.
the seat
Yeah, they're
and
just
they
the seat.
control it like this.
And I'm like, how much porn do you watch that your wrist is this fluid? Like, come on. Like, you're click, 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 click all day if you're doing that, honey. Like,
they
come
have
on.
a roller mouse apparently. Yeah, that's
yeah.
I actually understand
Yeah.
that because I'm not one of the. I'm like
You're not. Thank
I'm
God.
a Queen West hipster girl, cruisy bike girl.
Yep.
Like that's me. Dundas West more now than Queen
Yeah, yeah,
West,
yeah.
but like I know the bike type and like I also drive a car, so
Yep.
like I understand the frustration with those.
Bicycle people.
Yeah, the ones that are easy to door. I mean, not
I am
easy to door, but I mean that are like they sneak up on you, and you're like, "How did you get there so fast?"
Well-
and I'm trying to turn a corner, and it's
Yeah,
like
well,
unsafe.
one of the issues is the right-hand turn.
Yes.
With the bike lane on
Yes.
your right
Yeah.
Yeah, it's
is
unsafe.
not properly accommodated for in the signal.
Yes.
Because realistically, they should treat that lane a bit independently in the sense that
Correct.
it would be nice to get your right-hand turn signal, but have the bike lane have a red.
that would
Do
be
you know what I
smart.
mean?
Yeah.
Or even
Because-
the bike goes when the walk goes. There's a bike like the bike or something.
Yeah, they
Anything.
need their
Yeah.
own. I feel like
Their own traffic
their
light,
own
really,
traffic
yeah.
light, like
Yeah,
a
'cause
streetcar would have.
And
Because-
put the stop line 10 feet back from the intersection so they're not stopping in
Oh,
your
yeah.
right turn
yeah,
zone.
Oh, yeah.
right where
Yeah.
you turn because it's really
Okay.
dangerous.
So I think that we've just discovered that, Cast of Creators is also an incubator for urban
planners.
infrastructure
Absolutely.
and city planners.
Maybe we
so
can get John Tory to come on.
I think that'd be great.
I think we could do it.
I will be sitting in the audience for that one as well.
Yeah,
I'm
you're
just
gonna
going to
have
be
to
your
get more
permanent
seats.
audience member.
Because every time we've had a couple people, and every person is like, "I want to come back. I love it here." And that's like,
Yeah,
makes
no,
us
it's
feel
true.
really good.
Well, he would start off by introducing himself as Mr. Bike Lane. Okay. Have you seen the bike lanes?
Did you bike here? Are you carbon neutral?
Have you seen the bike lanes? Yeah.
I love the bike
I
lanes
bet-
on
I've
Florida.
seen
I
the
bet you have.
I lived close enough to Bayview. I saw your entire road bike lane. That was
He
horrible.
comes in. He'd come in with a helmet. What do you have the helmet for? You didn't bike here. I saw you get out of the Uber.
Carbon neutral.
Their
Carbon
bike
fiber.
lanes, his bike lanes have gotten so intense that they now have motorized gates on Bayview.
What?
Yeah, if you
I
go down
haven't seen
Rosedale
that.
Valley Road and you turn right to take Bayview down
The
to like
massive
Canary
swinging
District, they have
ones?
those
Is
massive.
that what those are?
Yeah, and it's because they introduced they shut down that road during the pandemic to make it all bikes, and then when they brought the bikes back in,
Yeah, it's
or the
like-
cars back in, they had to have a way to like be able to turn it into a bike Sunday road or whatever
Right.
Tory wants.
They're massive swing arms that gradually close the highway.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah, they're pretty intense.
yeah. It's ridiculous.
I don't know about this.
Yeah.
It's because none of us are bicycle people. Can
Mm-hmm.
we just take it in that up until I moved to Burlington? So funny story. You
Mm-hmm.
asked me,
Yeah.
you know, how the hell did I end up in a suburb of Toronto when, you know, little old me was saying, you know, 5 years ago with my last partner, he wanted to move to the GTA, and I said, no way in hell will you ever get me to move to the suburbs. I moved to Toronto to live downtown in a metropolitan lifestyle.
This is you pre-pan.
This was me pre-pandy in my last relationship, and he was desperate to move to the suburbs. He knew like we're almost like a single income household, and so like he didn't earn as much as I did, and so we were trying to figure out like how are we going to build a life as people do, and his thought was, let's move out of the city. And my thought was, like fucking hell, I'm not moving out of the city, because that was my mentality then. And then as this, you know, the pandemic took over the planet and our city got, you know, turned from a bustling metropolitan hub to a zombie land, filled with, you know, protesters and problems,
Bicyclists.
and bicycles. Yeah, the cyclists were still
I
out
don't
in
hate.
full force. But you know, I just said I can't do this anymore. I need to. Excuse me while I laugh at Casey's non-swab
Excuse me while I
disposal.
throw out stuff that isn't on camera.
And then make an audible sound on my camera or on my microphone so that the
This
video
is real
switches
life,
over.
okay?
It is.
Sorry.
This is real life,
So,
everyone. Yeah, so
Does he know that you've moved since?
who, my ex?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah, so funny story. He does now. He hated on me for it when I
He
did.
probably still creeps everything you do.
Oh no, he
almost very much.
100% does. Like he still texts me on occasion. Like we're friends now. We share a dog. I have the dog, so like I give him updates on the dog every now and again. And when I lived in the city, he would actually dog sit for us when we needed to go away sometimes.
That's convenient. I
Yeah.
feel like the best dog is a timeshare dog.
I know,
I'm
right?
surprised they don't do timeshare dogs.
I would like
know.
a dog like one day a month.
Oh fuck! I
Yeah,
wish I
just
could
a
have
one-
a
That
you can
dog
do.
one day a month.
There's
Oh, you
an
can
app
just
for
one
that.
day, just like a Uber
You
dogs.
you take somebody else. Yeah, it is. It's
Uber
called
dogs?
Rover.
Oh,
what?
Really is.
Actually?
Yeah, Rover.
Uber dogs. Can you post that on Hover, please, so that I can
I
find
will.
it?
I absolutely
Great.
will. Yeah, it's
didn't even know
called
that's a
Rover.
thing, 'cause I
And
just
you
wanna,
can
like-
take it basically turns you into a trusted dog sitter. And people with dogs.
And it
can-
doesn't sleep over. You just like walk it and play with it and
You
give
can
it back.
choose whatever you'd like.
I don't want it to sleep over.
No, you don't want to sleep over.
Wait, you don't want the dog to sleep over because bed cuddles from a dog are the best.
There's no dog going in my bed.
Okay,
I
yeah,
like
and
bed cuddles from a person.
I mean, cuddles
You can
from a
rent
person
those
definitely
too.
are great too.
You can
yeah.
rent those too.
Yeah, I don't know if we call it renting, Casey. Sorry. Though, in your defense on the dog comment, I last year had my first. So, okay, you know what? This all connects. So I'm just gonna
Yeah.
dial it back for a second.
Go for it.
Bring
I
it
moved
full
to
circle.
fucking Burlington because I'm living in this condo in Yorkville. It's a menace to my life, to society. it's it.
I didn't realize how close you were.
I was
to
so
us.
close. Yeah,
It goes
yeah.
to
he was
show,
right there.
like at the beginning during the pandemic, we were so afraid to even
Exactly.
go for a walk outside.
Yes.
Like you didn't text me, or I
Yeah, no,
I didn't know where you
no.
lived, but you knew where I lived.
Yes,
you
I knew where you
didn't
lived.
text me. And
I
be
walked
like,
by your
Can
house.
we go for a walk with masks on? Just so, like it was like
Yeah,
you
but
don't
that's
even
where
do
you,
that.
They were
you
so
would walk
afraid.
with
Yeah.
masks on
Yeah.
because you're like,
No, but
So
even that they
instead-
didn't like.
No, we
even
didn't do that.
no one did.
No. Instead, I would walk by your building with my partner and I'd say, this is where so-and-so lives. And he'd say, I've never met them. I'm like, yeah, they were pre-pandemic. So like, you'll have to meet
Yeah,
them
you'll have
once,
to meet
like
them
once
in
it's
the-
safe.
in the
And
new
so
world.
It's like, it's so weird because like I walked by that building all the time, but it was just a walk with me and him. Like we didn't walk with anyone else. We once met up with Natalie Dean for a walk and like did like the Philosopher's Walk next to the
Yeah.
Royal Conservatory of Music. And it was, it was weird because like even then I was standing 6 feet apart from her outside.
Right.
yeah. it
Today
seems-
I'm
looking
like back to
you're like-
normal. Let me
Yeah.
close to you. I mean, we're all
I mean, it
distance
does
here,
seem
but
weird
like,
looking back.
It does.
That was your 2020 plan.
I know it
Natalie
really
Dean.
was. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
And so, 2020 is a mess. And so in 2021, we said, this downtown is not the downtown that we moved
Oh,
here
yeah.
for. Like my partner is from Oakville.
Okay.
So now the story is spoiled.
Yeah.
And so when we started looking afield, he immediately looked at the Halton
That's a very
region.
Canadian
Yeah,
geographic
for
type of term
sure.
to use, say,
What,
afield.
afield? Yes.
Yeah, for sure. Well, it's beautiful. out
Yeah,
there.
and so he wanted to be in Oakville, and we started looking at houses there. But we were part of this mass exodus that came out of Toronto, right?
Like,
Yeah.
you
And
wouldn't
so,
get Trafalgar's too expensive.
yep.
And then you're just continuing to go
Yep.
west.
Yeah, and so this is the problem: is that he grew up just off of Trafalgar,
Mhm.
and they had a lovely home, and his parents moved out to Woodstock, and I mean, even now, check into today, his mom sold her house in Woodstock on a golf course and traded her, 5-bedroom house on a golf course for a 2-bedroom condo in Oakville.
Wow.
Wow.
Right.
And now his brother has just sold his house and has also relocated to Oakville. So like
Wow.
everyone's just
Yeah.
kind of coming together
Right
there.
in the
yeah.
downtown area there.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
That's
and
nice.
It's
so
good downtown.
it
to,
is
to
yeah.
have a condo there.
Yeah, and so her condo's in Glen Abbey.
Okay.
Nice.
Yep. And so everyone's kind of congregating in various areas of Oakville. And so we started looking at Oakville, and we put in an offer on this one house, which I wasn't too fond of because it had a pink basement. And I mean, I know you can change things, but I was just like, this is weird. It has a weird sink in the basement that needs to be removed, and the walls are pink. I don't know. Maybe I'm prissy, but we found our house in Burlington, which is like right on the border of Oakville in this great neighborhood. And we decided to move there, and we got it sight unseen. And I remember
Wow.
the owners of the house calling our real estate agent and saying, we've got your offer, your client's offer, but like we'd really like to insist that they come out and see the house in person before anything is signed, because we don't want them to get cold feet after they've come out to Burlington, like if they're from Toronto and they've never been to Burlington. So we went out, we fell in love with the house, and we took it. And so now we're in Burlington, who knows for how long. But it's nice. It's besides the, rush hour traffic, which is now returned. And at the height
For
of the
a
pandemic,
while, it was
yeah.
cool. It was
It was
extra great.
golden.
Yeah, it was cool.
It's like
Yeah, it
20
was good.
minutes
It
if
was
you're
good.
hit
It's like,
the
this has
right
been the best
speed.
decision.
Yeah.
Like,
Wow,
Yeah.
we really lucked out here.
And let me tell you, the first day that I realized it was not a good choice. Not saying it wasn't a good choice overall.
Yeah.
But traffic-wise, not a good choice. I had a meeting. It was like a full day. We're doing this documentary series, and we had like a development session at the Sheridan on Queen Street all day. And it's like going through, we start at 8 a.m. and it's like getting, it's after lunch. We had this great lunch, and we're kind of like, you could tell people were like pittering off a bit
Yeah.
in the thinking, like you're losing energy.
yeah.
So I'm like, we can get out of here early. I can beat traffic. If
Right.
I can get out of here
Right.
by 2:30
Right.
p.m., I will beat traffic to Burlington.
Yeah.
Oh, no.
No.
No, honey.
No,
You didn't beat it.
That's
it
not a
took
thing
me
anymore.
from 2:45 until 4:30
Yeah.
to get from the Sheridan on Queen
Wow.
Street next to City Hall
Yeah, that's terrible.
onto the Gardner.
Shut
No.
up.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. It took me that long to get down across
Wow.
Adelaide, down Yonge. I was going down
That's
Bay at
pathetic.
first, and Bay was such a traffic jam because at rush hour it becomes a 1-lane road,
Right.
and you only public transit and taxis can be on the right lane,
Right.
And so every person who's
Yeah,
pouring out of the
terrible.
financial
Right.
towers,
Yes.
if they go down Bay, they're screwed. And so I'm like, oh, I'm smart. I'll turn on
my God.
Front Street and I'll go and I'll take Yonge.
Right.
No.
No.
Worst idea ever. Construction.
Well, it's well, the
Construction.
thing is,
Everywhere, all the
it's
time,
all
nonstop.
bad.
Yeah, it's all
through the
bad.
center, through the core. Trying to get south
Yeah.
is terrible.
Yeah, it's impossible. And like, so then I ended up going all the way to Jarvis, and then Jarvis was also under construction, had to route around. It was put into 1 lane.
Oh,
This girl does a U-turn from the other side of the street and tries cutting into my lane, and everyone's like honking
Right.
their horn. And I'm like, I want to be the nice person and let her in. And someone like almost ran me off the road for doing it. It's crazy, but
Crazy.
You know what the traffic is like.
Yeah.
So you're just like, sure, come on in. Like,
and-
I'm not going anywhere.
And also at that point, you're going east to go west.
Exactly.
Which is
horrible.
So horrible.
Horrible. Especially because you know that like the traffic's moving so slowly getting east that it's going to be going just as slowly west. So you're
Yeah.
like not just doubling your time, but like quadrupling it because of the rate of traffic.
Well,
It's horrible.
Knowing that effort, we're that much more appreciative of you coming into the city to
Yes.
do the podcast.
No, it was my
Yeah.
pleasure. I mean, it's a beautiful studio that you guys have here, and I'm really loving everything that you do with Hover. So,
Thank you
yeah,
so
thank you for
much.
having me.
You're welcome.
Yeah.
Thank you for coming, and to many more.
To
Yeah.
many more.
Thank you for tuning into this episode. You can find Andrew on social at Lovesey and visit CanadianGeographic.ca.
Check out more episodes of Cast of Creators on YouTube, your favorite platform, or castofcreators.com.